Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Oakland, and this is the Introduction to the Helping Relationships course, and this is Chapter 3, the Helping Process. There are two important phases of the helping process, and that's relationship building and facilitating positive action. In order to facilitate positive action, you have to have a good relationship with whoever you're working with. And that relationship really requires being genuine, caring, and compassionate. And if you have built that relationship, then facilitating positive action will come in time. And that's based on decision and action skills as they become more important. The relationship between the helper and the helpee really is very similar in the beginning phases, and only really changes with the very last phase, where the helper really has the expertise and the helpee is coming with an issue that they're wanting to work on. And the beginning phases consist of self-perceptions, needs, values, feelings, experiences, and expectations. Again, there are two phases to this process, and that is building relationships and, again, facilitating positive action, which we will talk about in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and open all of these up so we can see them as we go. When building the relationship, the helpee will often come with initial statements of concern, and they are statements such as, how do I state my desire for help? Can I trust this person that I'm working with? And basically, what have I gotten myself into? And that's why it's really important to build a good relationship with whoever you're working with. Because what these statements translate into is, I really can't cope with the demands of myself, of others, and of the situation. And I need more information, more skill, more love, and more understanding. And the helpee can get all of these from the helper. Next, in phase one of building the relationship, the helpee will have statements of a goal. I want to feel more, and I want others to. And keep in mind that this is not based on any type of theory or style in this beginning process of building a relationship. And for those working in a helping relationship, not necessarily in a counseling function, but any type of helping relationship, these are just very basic skills, not based on theory or style. And it's a problem-solving approach. So what these statements of goals translate into are awareness of process need. And what the helpee will do is they really want a relationship with the helper to explore their feelings. They want more specific information about certain materials, or how to deal with relationships, or maybe it's problem solving skills or parenting skills that they're coming to you for. Depending on who you're working with will depend on what they will need. They'll want to talk over their choices, and they'll want more choices to consider. And that doesn't mean you're giving them the choices or you're giving them advice, but you're helping them find those answers. You're researching with them. You're giving them materials that they can read. You're answering their questions. And ultimately, they will be able to come up with more choices really on their own with your help. And this is phase two of the process, and it's facilitating positive action. And when you've built a good relationship with the person that you're working with, you will, positive action will be facilitated. And they will be able to problem solve and begin to solve their own problems. So in this instance, the helpee is really asking themselves, why did I meet with this person? And they're wondering what purpose there was in meeting with this person. And they'll also be asking, or they'll be experiencing what has gone on in the relationship as either helpful or as unhelpful based on the results that they're getting. And you will be able to see that by these outcomes experienced. I feel better about, and what they will feel better about. My skills have improved, or maybe I got a job as, if they were having a hard time finding a job and they were working with you and it led to a job. Of course, I've used all the positive outcomes, but there will be evidence if the relationship is helpful or not. If you're working with a student, it could be in grades. And for the helper and facilitating positive action, these are some questions that the helper needs to ask themselves. First of all, they need to be choosing an interview method that meets the need of, I say, client or student, or if they're working in a behavioral field or an educational field, a counseling field, whatever field they're working on, you need to be meeting that person's needs. Always be looking for feedback on effectiveness. Sometimes people won't tell you verbally whether you're doing a good job or not, but you will know if you're helping that person. Also, look for evidence. Look for progress, as we spoke about previously. Look for progress in passing their classes if you're mentoring a student, or if you are working with a client in a counseling session. Look at how they're moving forward in their progress. Are they working towards their goals? If you're setting goals, are they meeting those goals? And the outcomes perceived by the helper should be, am I experiencing myself as helpful to the person I'm working with? I see, and what are you seeing in this person's progress? Obviously, if they're not making progress, then you need to go back and reevaluate. You need to look at the relationship and work with them on setting new goals. And listen to their feelings and what they're experiencing. There are 8 stages in this process, 4 in the building relationship stage and 4 in the facilitating positive action stage. And the first 4 phases are entry, clarification, structure, and relationship. You have to meet the first 3 before you can even begin building the relationship. And in phase 2, facilitating positive action, that consists of exploration, consolidation, planning, and termination. In stage 1, the entry stage, this stage focuses on preparing the helpee for opening the relationship. You're really looking for any resistance that might be there. Help the helper should realize if there's any resistance, maybe any of the helpee's needs. Maybe they don't feel comfortable working with somebody or coming to somebody for help. You might have to explain to them what your role is, maybe connect with them through previous life experiences or something you might have in common with them. But the entry stage is really about setting that foundation for building the relationship and making that person feel comfortable. The setting is very important. If it's in this vehicle for delivery through a web-based approach, then you have to really work on how you're going to reach that person. If you're fortunate enough to be able to respond with them through email or through phone conversation, then you'll be able to build a stronger relationship, and that will help. And in the beginning, this is a very informal relationship that really needs to turn into a more formal process as you go uh, through the process. Stage 2, clarification. This is where the helpee will eventually feel comfortable enough to begin sharing the reason they're there, uh, sometimes known as the problem, and the reason for wanting help. You might have to use questions to clarify why they're there, where do we go from here, and planning the helping process, and helping them to take ownership of the problem that's going on and move forward. Stage 3, structure. In some instances, you might have to have a contract that kind of lays out what the expectations are, what you're expecting from the helpee, and what the helpee is expecting from you, what they want you to do in the relationship, and if they're wanting you to provide information, what do they need help with? Sometimes it needs to be a formal contract. Sometimes it can be an informal contract. It really depends on the relationship. Stage 4 is the relationship. And after you get through the first 3 stages, this is probably the most important part of the process, and this is relationship building. And this is where the depth and the intensity of the relationship really increases. Know that when you're working with somebody and they're telling you what's going on, silence sometimes is okay, so that you can listen to what their needs are. And by this stage, the relationship really should be firmly established from the previous 3 stages. You should have really gotten to know that person. They should feel comfortable with you. And this is really where the relationship can intensify. Stage 5, exploration. This gets into the second phase, and that's facilitating positive action. And stage 5 is exploration, which here you can really start to ask some key questions, explore the problems, and start to formulate goals. You want to plan strategy so that they begin to see changes and work towards their goals. Stage 6 is consolidation. In this stage, you want to begin to explore alternatives if what they are working on is not working, because when they aren't with you, and as you know, if problem solving skills are going on constantly every day, and not every situation is going to be the same, so sometimes there needs to be backup plans or alternatives. In this stage, they really need to be working through their feelings and working on practicing new skills, kind of just getting in more depth with the problem solving skills. Stage 7, planning. In the planning stage, crystallize is going back and discussing the earlier stages and starting to plan for how to handle those situations when the relationship is terminated. Because in the next stage, 8, as you will see, that is termination. So when you get to the planning stage, this is really planning for future events, working through some scenarios, talking through some scenarios. Okay, if this happens, I can do this, or if this happens, I can do this, and have a couple different scenarios for each situation of the problems that they had discussed earlier that they were having. And it is important at this point, you need to decide, has the relationship reached a point to where termination is appropriate? And if they have worked through all of their goals and they're moving forward, then I would say that it's safe at this point to terminate the relationship and let them go forward and work on those goals that you have set, and of course leaving the option open to always come back. Stage 8, termination. At this point, this is often a hard stage for people. Once you're in a relationship with somebody, you're talking to them on a weekly basis or a daily basis in some cases, depending on what capacity you're working in. This can be a hard part to terminate, and sometimes people really let the relationship go on longer than what it should, especially in counseling relationships when termination relationship probably occurred, but sometimes the helper wants to stay in that relationship and continue working with that person. But at this point, you really need to go over the accomplishments toward goals being summarized and progress is evaluated. Sometimes a referral is needed if they are maybe referred to a group or if they're going to be referred to any additional outside help. And this is the time to say goodbye and terminate the sessions. And that is the end of Chapter 3, the helping process. Thank you.